Use the Force, M King! Or the Jutsu of Fushin, which allows you to jump higher. Not unlike the Force. But yes, this is the Mississippi King welcoming y'all back to the finale of Let's Play The Revenge of Shinobi. And in this episode, we'll finish the game. We'll take on the last 2 rounds, which may take a little longer than the previous rounds because there's stuff that's... well, we'll get into that later, but for now, this level, actually is pretty tricky because, well, there's a pixel-perfect... I don't know if it's really pixel-perfect, but it's near pixel-perfect in, like, how you need to go about it, because, like, I think you need the Jutsu of Fushin in order to get past it. Like, I don't think it's possible to beat this level without the Jutsu of Fushin, and, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm not much of a fan of this level, but it's alright. We're done with that level with water in it, and I don't like sand. It's coarse, and rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. I have a nasty habit of quoting the prequels. Oh dear, this channel has become prequel memes at this point. And that's the annoying thing, is I don't even like the prequels, yet I can't stop quoting them for some reason. They're not even particularly quotable, or at least not for the right reasons. So I still end up, like, quoting it a lot. Of course, this level, this is where the fun begins. God dang it. There I go again, quoting the prequels. And this part is pretty interesting because it's like, it's kind of filled with, like, these tight corridors, and it's more combat focused than the previous one. The previous level was more platforming focused, but this is more about combat. And that's kind of cool. And as such, in order to get through this, whenever you're low on life, you can always just use the Jutsu of Meijin to grant a full replenish of life. Is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Jedi. And I just died, well, ain't that swell. But that line should have been like a huge red flag to any intelligent person, but because, you know, the prequels were so horribly written, everyone ends up coming across like a complete imbecile. Because of just how many things they didn't bother to check. Like, if Anakin had any common sense, he would have known that Palpatine was the Sith Lord all this time. And yeah, I realize it's technically a spoiler, but who cares? It's a garbage movie, and if you haven't seen it yet, then I question what you do with your time. Because seriously, though, pretty much everyone's seen the prequels at this point, and yes, they are hot garbage. But for some reason, I, and a lot of other people, it seems, cannot stop quoting the prequels. It may not seem like it from how I'm describing it, from how I'm talking, but the prequels are movies that I really am angry about. These movies are the ones that perhaps make me the most furious out of any movie. They're not the worst movies I've seen, but they are the ones that make me the most furious. Oh, whatever. Why am I even talking about the prequels anyway? They've got nothing to do with this round. Instead, we'll be fighting excuse me, can't seem to talk right. Basically, we're fighting against Godzilla, or Skeletal Godzilla, but we'll call him Godzilla, just because he's he's Godzilla. Just instead we fight a skeleton and, like, with its internal organs exposed, so, I got nothing for that. I'm just saying. And it's a pretty repetitive fight. And I don't like it for that reason. It is just dull and uninteresting, because it's like you just do the same thing over and over. He, like, walks up close to you, and then he'll, like, attack you with his atomic fire breath, and he'll just turn around, and then you jump up and basically just do what I'm doing right here. And because this fight is so freaking repetitive,
you know what that means. Speed montage time! So yes, we're going to speed this up, and I guess it's kind of fitting that we're fighting Godzilla, seeing as Godzilla King of the Monsters recently came out. I make some reference to that movie, but in truth I haven't actually seen it. I'm not particularly well versed in the lore of Godzilla. And why is he in New York anyway? Because that's what Round 7 is, it's called New York, as you may have seen on the info card earlier. And what's he doing here? I thought he was Japanese. I thought he plagued the people of Japan, like in Tokyo and stuff like that. Yet here he is all the way in New York? Like, that's one thing I don't get. And I feel I should mention, this is the most Japanese thing ever. It features a ninja fighting against a kaiju, against Godzilla. Like, you don't get any more Japanese than that.
but anyway, now we've moved on to round 8, the final round. And level 1 of round 8 is pretty tricky. It's not gonna be a cakewalk because, like, there are a ton of enemies. They've been placed in, like, some really tricky spots, and you'll have some very tough ones too, so you gotta watch out for things, but I think it's overall quite manageable, but not the easiest thing in the world. The next level, on the other hand, will be hard because of something else, a different reason. It's actually a maze, next level that is. And because of that, it can trip up a lot of first-time players because they'll have no idea where to go. And so it can be difficult to, like, find the correct route because there are so many tricks that it pulls, and you'll need to, like, follow a very particular route. Fortunately, I know where I'm going, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but I'm just putting it out there. And there's also one place that you'll want to stop by on the way, even though it isn't technically mandatory. But if you want to get the good ending, then it is definitely something that's very helpful. So keep that in mind. It's a stash of items and it gives you death. Yeah, I'm editing that crap out. In any case, one thing that I should mention is that those things back there, the cannons that kept firing you, yeah, they look just like AT-ATs. And it's just amazing, a Star Wars reference, and you thought that my Star Wars references had nothing to do with this game. You were wrong! Actually, to tell you the truth, I was kind of just winging it with the Star Wars references, but it turns out they're appropriate after all. But this is the final level, the last one till the final boss. And just follow my lead and you'll be able to find a really awesome cache of items, and it will give you like an extra life, an extra ninjutsu, which is really going to come in handy against the final boss. But since this place is a maze, I feel I should explain it. Basically, you can enter into certain doors, and these will take you to different parts of the maze, and it's your goal to find the right set of doors that you need to follow. I have that route memorized, so the route to the end should be pretty straightforward. Just follow my lead, and you'll be able to find what you're looking for. One thing that I should note, though, is the black ninjas, they actually take 2 hits if you're not powered up, so you'll want to be powered up for them. And if you're not careful, they can really mess you up, so take out the black ones first. Don't take that out of context either. Come on, dang it, I keep saying things that are so easily taken out of context. You're horrible. No, I ain't. I'm Hoggle. It's not fair that you keep taking this out of context. You say that so often, I wonder what your basis for comparison is. Just felt appropriate to quote that movie since, you know, this is a maze after all. And it's filled with all sorts of danger. It's a very interesting movie, by the way. And we're near the end, but what's this? It's a trap! I had to, cause you get ambushed by a bunch of black ninjas, and they just rain down incessant pain, and I think we took a wrong turn. Yes, I felt that's appropriate too, since, you know, I went the wrong way. Why am I not remembering the way to the exit? It's not actually that hard. Actually, I think I should be able to get it, but we're going in circles. You see, this is what happens. This is what— no, okay, I'll not quote I've been quoting that line way too much. So, it's about time I put a moratorium on that quote. Well, a personal moratorium. I mean, you can quote it if you want, but I will not quote it anymore. And I keep getting lost. You see, pay attention, folks. You see, this is why you gotta pay attention to stuff, kids. Otherwise, you'll end up getting lost, and you'll also end up having to fight more ninjas. The results on that last one may vary, so don't take my word for that, kids. We're going in circles here. This is crazy. Fortunately, I think I know how to get back on track. You see, the room with all of the black ninjas, that actually contains the door that leads to the exit. And once you enter that, you'll be able to reach the end. Well, you'll be taken straight to the end, in fact. And it's how you beat this maze. It's not actually that hard. Although, of course, it was very confusing for me the first time around, and after some practice, though, it's not really an issue. I can't maneuver! Stay on target! We're too close! Stay on target! I had to quote that. Seriously, I gotta stop quoting Star Wars, man. My quotes need to be from more diverse range of movies, seriously. I'm quoting the same stuff over and over again. But I don't believe I've made any Dragon Ball Z quotes, which is a bit surprising, seeing as how Japanese this game is. Man, I love the ability to block. It comes in handy so much in this game. And if it weren't for that, then this game would be a bit harder, quite a bit. Because, like, enemy projectiles can often hit you. So let's go blow up the Death Star, what do you say? I could have sworn there's a thing right there. And before we actually show up the boss fight, well, before we continue in the main playthrough, I wanted to show off the bad ending. Because there are actually 2 endings to this game. This is actually a very tricky boss fight. You could argue it's the hardest in the game, in fact. Because it's very tricky to get the timing down in order to dodge his hair. And as you can see, Naoko is in the background, and the ceiling is falling. So, in order to get the good ending, you need to beat him before the ceiling collapses. If you don't, then she ends up dying and you get the bad ending, which is what we're here to show off right now, in fact. So, it's pretty easy to beat this guy if you know what you're doing, because, like, I don't think you can get the good ending if you're not powered up. So if you die to this guy, that basically means you're screwed out of the good ending, at least as far as I'm aware. I'm not totally sure on that, but you do get a nice musical piece when you get the bad ending. I do actually like this track, but I honestly don't really know which ending track I prefer. That's one thing. The music was composed by Yuzo Koshiro, who is a legendary composer, and yeah, his work in this game is pretty phenomenal stuff, I must say. It's really good. And you can also see Naoko in the sky. But ironically, I actually did better in this playthrough than in the actual LP. My first death was in round 7, and that's coincidentally where everything quickly went downhill and I started dying left and right, but that's all for the bad ending. So now it's time to actually face off against him and get the good ending. Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my master. Prepare to die. It just felt appropriate to quote that. Because, you know, I'm on a roll with these quotes, although I'm quoting Star Wars way too much. Hey, the room is getting smaller. No, it's not. He's getting bigger. The walls are moving. Don't just stand there, try and brace it with something. I have a bad habit of quoting Star Wars too much. And, well, that's it. You have no power over me. And, with that, we've got the good ending. And, well, that's it for the Revenge of Shinobi. We've, finished the main LP, so it's done. No more extra videos to come. That's basically it. We've finally completed a game that is filled with movie references. Like, seriously, it's got so many, I just couldn't keep up with all of them. That's it, folks. But not entirely. I mean, there is one thing that I feel I need to show off outside of the bad ending. It's the shortest LP I've ever made, actually. I mean, I'm not sure whether it's this or the first Mega Man game, because that was only 3 parts as well. This game's pretty short, and it's pretty enjoyable, I find. I like it. And that's, of course, not it, as I've said. So the only thing that I really need to show would be a cheat, actually. It's somewhat famous, at least among people who have played the game, but basically, you set the shuriken numbers in the options to 0, and you wait a while, and it will turn into an infinity sign. That means that when you start the game again, you have infinite shurikens. So you can just keep throwing them and, like, rain down shurikens on all of your enemies, and you'll never run out, even upon death. So it's like, it's neat that they included that, but I don't really ever use it, because, you know, I prefer playing games legitimately. I'm not much of a fan of cheating myself, but that's just my opinion, and it can make the game very easy, I find. And, well, that's it, folks. We are finally done with the Revenge of Shinobi. It's been a fun ride, it's been quite enjoyable, but this is where it ends. This is the Mississippi King signing out, and I hope to see you next time when we tackle Mega Man X. Yes, that's right, we're tackling the Mega Man X series at long last. I should have gotten to it a lot sooner than I have, but oh well, better late than never. This is going on too long. Bye!